Hi and welcome to the second episode of the Hive Bus, brought to you by IdeaHive. It's a lifestyle podcast where we unpack all things marketing and lifestyle related. I am your host, Velimina Simono, and this time around we are talking content marketing. I am joined by Scoop and Slee, who are going to unpack this beast for us. Hello guys.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
So,
Oh,
because of content marketing.
Yep.
Now, content marketing. Kimang, Utwakai, and for an agency like IdeaHive, what role does content marketing play?
That's a tough question here. But also a fun question to answer.
Yeah.
Content marketing is what we're doing right now. We're actually marketing
Here.
content at the moment. There's different aspects to it. Of course, what we know is usually like visual, but the elements that come into play before you can get to a point like that, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of research that comes to play. It could be audio, it could be visual, it could be a podcast, it could be music even.
It could be a reel.
Could be a real
Everything.
copy as well.
Copy.
It's diverse, but I think the most important thing is the objective of content marketing. That's where you'll be able to see exactly what content marketing is as a whole.
And just to add on that, content marketing also just speaks to talking to people where they are and like reaching them in a more personal, rather than like how we used to do traditional ads where we're just pushing products like, oh, this is a product, it's you, it's amazing. But with content marketing, you create content for people to consume on every day, but also just bring in the element of a product or service. So it's more of a storytelling element. It's more of a everyday life. It's very humanized. It's not just pushing brands and pushing an adverts into people's faces. It's just like getting to what people are already consuming. People are consuming video on Facebook. People are consuming content on LinkedIn. So just getting into that space where they are and just bringing in a product or building a brand relationship with them. Yeah.
Right, and just to touch on what you said, you talked about perhaps maybe there's a bigger objective to what content marketing is. Can you touch on that?
So with brands, of course brands have their specific objectives. Right. Some is to push products, some is to be a part of the culture, some it's to just stay relevant. But I think the space where South Africa is going, and possibly even global, is just localizing it, make it fun. I think here in the office we joke around it, just around what's the video that we were watching yesterday? I know I fucked up. That's content. It's content marketing, but it's a real localized space. And I think a lot of brands are trying to gravitate towards that. One of the global brands that we work with, are speaking or we're executing more of a fan truth. And I think that's something that, touching on that, I fucked up. It's a space that content marketing is going into. 90%, if I'm not mistaken, 90% of brands are using content marketing at the fore, and then I think that's where a lot of the precision comes into it. So how we execute our copy, speaking to specific target audiences and retaining it again.
And also just relating to them and speaking on things that matter to them, and also in a way just like tapping into the way they speak, because you can't be talking to someone and speaking a different language. You speak to your audience the way they speak. You find a way to relate to them. In a lot of campaigns we've done, we've used colloquial languages, we've used things that are trending and things that are relevant to whoever we're speaking to.
And now, IdeaHive has grown since its inception, and I'm guessing even how you guys go about creating the content, as you said, is quite different. So now, in the broader scheme of things, what role does content marketing then play at IdeaHive, rather in terms of servicing their clients, or maybe in terms of execution? You touched on the language that the copy team writes. So what role does this monster play at an agency like IdeaHive?
I'm gonna give that to sleep.
It's a lot. Like, it's a lot of what we do. It's a lot of what we produce. Like, we are constantly thinking, what are other people doing? What are the target audience? Like, if we have a target audience, we're like, what are they talking about? What matters to them?
Yeah.
What's relevant to them? So we meet them halfway, or we meet them at a place where they are. So it has a lot to do with what we do. We don't just spray and pray that they will get it. We try to figure out how they will get it.
Simplify it.
Yes,
yeah.
and content, like you said, it's one of the things that make us relevant right now, and it's one of the things that carry the work that we produce, basically.
Yeah, I think there's also an element of authenticity
to it. Yeah.
So we're all here, we have different personalities, and bringing some of who you are into content marketing also elevates it on a wider scale. So it becomes, like she said, a little bit more relevant, something that beyond just the trend can grow legs and become, something other brands are also looking at doing. There's quite a few brands that are copying us at the moment, but
yeah, copycats.
I know, that's right.
but yeah, the gamifications, word puzzles, things like that. But again, like you said, tapping into what's actually happening. There's that meme trend happening. Just plugging it in with specific products or services is key for the bigger objective as a whole. Yeah.
And just to add, that's one of the reasons why influencer marketing actually works, because a lot of influencers create content around whatever brand or whatever product. So what they're pushing, like if you see a day in a life, it's your life, it's what you do on a daily, but only different now because you have a certain product as a part of it. So that also is just like a reason why people would consume the content. People are already consuming the content, but and they make it seem like, like a lot of influencers now are making it seem like, it just happens to be here while I'm washing my face. But it's a technical way of pushing content while pushing a brand.
And you just touched on influencer marketing, because basically they're also creating content just like any other digital agency and everything. So now, what's the thin line, or maybe I'm not phrasing it correctly, whether cost effectiveness to brands or yada yada, like when they have to choose between whether coming to IdeaHive to push a digital campaign, or do they go to influencers to push a digital campaign? Like, what's the thin line there to say that digital agencies are still in a safe space when it comes to that, but Yeah,
so thanks for rephrasing it.
Yeah.
I think
it sounded like, do you have beef with
There's
no beef.
Yeah.
So I think the difference between us and other agencies as IdeaHive is that when it comes to content marketing, we provide the 360 scope. So content development, copywriting, influencer marketing, research as well that goes into it. And a lot of other agencies, they're established, but they're still looking at suppliers instead, vendors instead. Whereas with us, because we're so youthful and there's so much, I guess you could say, charisma and personality in the space, we're able to tap into all those different services, and that's what makes IdeaHive different competitive.
And we collaborate. It's not just an influencer doing this by themselves. Most of the time, if we have influencers in a campaign, we collaborate, and we do more than just influencer marketing on its own. We find ways to bring in the research, all the matrix, everything that makes a good campaign. So that's what we do.
Well, that's what the actual content creators had to say about content marketing. Next up, I'm going to sit with Muzi again, and he's going to tell us exactly why does content marketing also need to be precise in terms of when it's going to land to a particular audience, or just in general to stimulate the campaign, to push the numbers, and so on and so forth. We'll be back right after this. And the conversation around content marketing still continues. This time around, we are joined by Muzi, and he's going to unpack how precise must content marketing be? I always love having this chat with you. Do you know what I mean? I always love having this chat with you. I mean, the last time we talked about how precision is gonna blend in terms of making campaigns effective.
Yeah.
But now we're like coming back in studio to say, in terms of content marketing, from creating to dispatching, where does precision marketing come in and what role does it play from the last conversation we had?
Yeah, and so I think this is a very exciting one because, you know, we are actually one of the first who would be blending those two worlds. I think there's a lot of understanding around precision marketing, but it does come from a very traditional approach to creating communications.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, as the team was saying, what they do is very dynamic, and in the sense that, you know, it actually takes and mimics and reflects what the people are engaging with. And then it uses that to and then it uses that to then create communication. So you know, looking at we focused on finding and segmenting audiences so that we know exactly where they are on the consumer journey. What the content team then really does beautifully is finding the most appropriate way to engage them and resonate with them. So whereas the precision marketing comes in with the effectiveness, I think content marketing then builds that resonance, builds that affinity. You know, it's that moment where you can see an ad, but then if it's, you know, done with the lens of content marketing, if the guys are employing what they do, it gives you that chuckle, it gives you that, you know, it makes it feel like, okay, this is part of my life. So I think, you know, it is just that cherry that really gives it life. I think precision marketing outside of content marketing is very dry, and this then brings the life that it needs. So, you know, it understands that you as Val need, maybe you like these type of emojis or memes. Let me talking emojis. You can see I'm not the content creator, but you know, whatever Val would
those
need.
boring SMSs that you
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, he makes them exciting. Yeah.
And then just taking back to what he said, now I'm interested, you know, from the guys in studio. Is there any campaign that you guys worked on wherein definitely you could say precision marketing here came through? I mean, you don't have to name and shame, but you can just like get us through the steps to say, when we were here, this is when we realized we needed Muzi's team to come and assist.
Yeah, so that's something that Muzi mentioned, that we're still building, right?
Yeah.
There is a particular campaign that we're working on at the moment that's going to bring it to life.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be very, very exciting to see how, you know, not only from a SMS or a programmatic banner, but going further inside, you know, now WhatsApp is a real thing, potentially playing in that space. It really is just about getting to know your audience, which is where the precision comes in. That data, those analytics, then allow for us to deep dive in the research that, you know, has been brought to us. And then we know how to speak to a Scoop, we know how to speak to a Muzi, you know, two different personalities, but that precision is what makes it, precision and content, that's what makes it the cherry on top,
And that is it, folks, on content marketing. Join me next time, the next episode, where we unpack more business lifestyle content.